Well, I'll leave you to it.
So how about how much were you planning to play today, Elijah? Up to what were you thinking?
To be honest, I thought we were just gonna work on the portion that I played for the semifinals. I wasn't sure if
Yeah,
you wanted
just
to go
remind
past that.
me. Where you
We went up
was that before
to
the cadenza?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and take it from the top and we may stop just to hit some big picture ideas.
Okay, just let me know. Let me just make sure my mic is okay. Can you hear that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Good. Let's talk about that much.
Okay.
So I want to talk about a few things, maybe dealing with your vibrato, and then in general, what's happening with the music and with the orchestra behind you. You know, if you're playing this with orchestra. So I know that vibrato is somewhat new to you this school year, but I want to ask when you practice, how are you practicing vibrato,
So
or do
usually,
you?
yeah. So a big thing that I'm doing right now is I'm utilizing this new book that my teacher's having me work with, called the Chopstick for Saxophone, and there's a lot of really cool
Okay,
exercises, and I'm using vibrato over my overtones and practicing my overtone series.
you are
Um,
doing that with your overtones, right?
yes, yeah,
Can you show me B flat?
sure. Or just on low B flat, or just
Uh
an
huh.
octave B flat. Okay,
Like overtones on B flat with vibrato. So like when you're up there, I'm not really detecting it. So as you go higher on each partial, it's going to need to be faster and probably narrower so that you don't lose the pitch. Can you just try that
yeah,
on the high B flat?
yeah.
Are you hearing it in where you are?
Yeah.
You are. Okay.
Can you not hear it over the mic?
Not really, no.
Do you want me to try one more
Um
time?
yeah, start at the bottom this time.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that's a little slow. Do yo 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 do yo 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 yo. I'd like you to start, for now as an exercise to start thinking of your vibrato at least as a 16th note subdivision, rarely slower than that. And again,
Yeah.
the end game, I mean, we don't want to have your vibrato to be measured, and I'm not insinuating that at all, to be clear. But as an exercise, I would say like definitely 16th note, probably not slower. I mean, there will be some cases, but like right now it's a little slow, and I think that in the music, when it's that slow, you have a tendency to sit on the note and then add a little bit in, but you're really only getting like about 3 or 4 vibrations in, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just not maybe where it should be. If you're thinking, oh, I got to hit 4 of these per beat, it's going to sound a bit ridiculous. But it's a little, it's like a step in the right direction, and you're going to see how much vibrato you actually could add in, and then maybe you won't want to have that much. But let's try it from the beginning again, and this time as an exercise. Again, I say as an exercise only. Let's have you subdivide 16th note vibrato, so 4 per beat.
Okay.
On a quarter note or longer.
Okay.
And the other thing, make sure you're starting with the tongue. I think the first time you didn't.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So like in measure 16 on that C, are you wanting to have vibrato or not so much? What are you wanting to do there?
I wanted to add vibrato. I don't know if that was
Okay.
coming through so much.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think if I have to ask or question it, then it must not be, right?
Okay.
I think that the first time you definitely weren't, because you have this tendency to like play the note and then add it. But I think when you realized about halfway through bar 15 that you're subdividing, you heard a little bit more on the downbeat of 16. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's try right at 15, still subdividing, even there for now, because again, this is an exercise. So anything a quarter note or longer, you're going to subdivide 16th. Yeah. Did you add it? Did you have it there at the downbeat of 16?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And do you want it there or not?
Well, I'm not really sure because it's not as long as a quarter note, and I don't know if I can
Oh.
fit like a very good vibrato in.
But you did want it there, right?
Originally I did, but
Yeah. So that's fine. So I guess I'm trying to get you to get it in on that C. So yeah. Anywhere you want, definitely a quarter note or longer.
Okay.
And anywhere else you want. I'm just trying to get that vibrato fast enough so that you can actually have it on that C dotted 8th note.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, 15 again. Good. Yeah, let's try that again from the beginning. Same thing, and I just want you to get used to that speed of vibrato.
Okay.
This time, 16th note vibrato. Don't worry about not having vibrato on anything. Let's just have it on anything longer than a 16th note, so that you can see how the many places that you actually could have vibrato.
Okay. I just want to confirm. You said anything that's not a 16th, anything longer than a 16th note, right?
Yeah. So basically, like, let's have a 16th note subdivision the whole time. Just as an exercise to get that faster and narrower.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
So on that C, second C dotted eighth note, there's time, you could have you should have vibrated there for subdividing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Do that again. Same thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Fine. Good. The way you tapered out of that phrase, I do like. It was very artistic. However, it's not what we asked for this exercise. And I guess what I'm trying to demonstrate, Elijah, is that first line that you just played now with all of that vibrato, maybe it's not what you were going for artistically, but I do want you to recognize that that's a valid interpretation, and that's how a good amount of players might interpret that line. And I know you're trying to discern like where you want to have your vibrato and like artistically choose like what color you want to paint the walls. But if you don't have a house yet, it's going to be difficult to determine what color you want the walls, right? Right now, we're just trying to focus on developing a nice vibrato. So I think that in something like this and anything slow that you play, more is better for now. Then once you're really comfortable vibrating at every chance you can get, and then we can talk about, what, maybe that shade is too much here. Let's take it back. But my fear is that by starting that way, putting the cart before the horse, you might never actually develop a nice, fast, singing, shimmering vibrato because you're so carefully thinking in a positive way where, oh, I should probably not have it here. I should probably not have it here because you're thinking about the phrase structure, which I do think you should be thinking about. But do you see what I'm saying? I don't want you to do that at the expense of ever developing a nice, fast vibrato. Yeah? Is that clear?
Yes.
I know there's like a lot of mixed messages there because we were trying to get you use it artistically, but I think what's happened is that we're missing out on developing that vibrato. So let's try that beginning again. It's sounding nice, fast, 16th note vibrato.
Okay.
4. Good, fine. Let's just take good. Let's just take that much. So now, when you first played it, I could tell there were certain notes you wanted to vibrate on, and there were certain notes that you didn't want to vibrate on. Let's do that, but I want you to see that speed that you just did should be the speed that you're using, maybe, in the height of the phrases where you're choosing to vibrate. So the first time around when you played this, you definitely vibrated on the A in measure 2 to 3. Correct? Yes, good, yes. But you barely had it at the end of the quarter note and it got on the 8th note. So now I'm asking you to use the vibrato that you just did when you do get there on the A. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good, let's try that. Right now, the first 2 phrases you're going to play in the way that you wanted to artistically, but with a faster vibrato like you just demonstrated. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
About 5 minutes.
Okay. Right, good. Now that is much different than you've ever played it.
Thank you.
So when you go back and watch this masterclass, I want you to just listen to the 2 phrases you played and compare it with the first time you played it, the very first time.
Yeah.
And you're in your head, it's probably the same, but you're going to hear a black and white difference. And I want you to go for this one. So it's just about getting it faster and getting it to come out sooner. I love where you're putting it. You're putting it at good spots. Now it's just about when to introduce it in that note. I think we have about 2 minutes left. So let's start it again and let's see if we can get from 1 to 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. Fine. Great. Now, as you're transitioning from 2 to 3, I noticed the first time you played, you didn't have any vibrato on those dotted 8s with the staccato legato articulation. Fine. But you do have to make that a staccato legato. And right now they're all a little clip. Da da dee da 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 dee da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da dee da da dee da da. So a little link. Da dee da dee dum ba dee da dee da dee da dee da 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 da. So just don't get too short there. And then at 3, something different, a different color, and don't add time when you breathe. Da da dee da dum da da dee da dum ba da dum ba dee da 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 dee da dee da da. But you're kind of breathing after a rest, so you're adding like a beat of rest each time. From 3 to 4, there's time added every time you breathe, and you just won't be able to do that. So keep that in mind. Look at that when you listen back to it. Play that spot at 3 with a metronome. Make sure you're not adding a quarter note every time you breathe. And take that vibrato and put it in everywhere as an exercise. First, you put it all in. You do that a few times until you're comfortable. Then you think, does this sound crazy? And most likely it will. And then just chop out the parts that you don't want to have vibrato, but leave that speed or at the height of the phrases. Make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. I'm looking forward to hearing you play as much as you're going to, which is, I think, what, from the beginning to right before the cadenza at the recital?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I think we have to
Wonderful.
stop.
Yeah, we're about at time. It was great to hear you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bravo.
Yeah. All right.
And Caleb is here now. So
Hey, Caleb.
when we bring Caleb in, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you turn on your cam? There he is.
Hey, Caleb. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Did you get to warm up?
Yeah, I warmed up with both the first and the fourth movement. Did my scales too.
Good.
Wonderful. Should we try to reposition the camera so you can see a little better?
Sure.
Maybe just bring it down more. Or...
On like a tablet, so I'm trying to prop it up without it.
Oh, okay. All right. It's ow. Bang my knee. Okay, wonderful. It's Zoom pandemic workshops here. Wonderful. So you're going to dazzle us with some Rasher?
Yes.
Some Foch, some Eccles, I believe, right?
Eccles.
Yeah.
Oh, arranged by Rasher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Can't wait to hear it.
All right, you want me to start?
Mm-hmm. Okay, very nice, Caleb. Good. I want to talk about a few things here. Mostly, we're going to discuss how you use your air, because I think you have a lot of good ideas with where you're wanting to take the music. And there was only maybe 2 rhythmic airs that we're going to address. And you're using vibrato, which is very nice. And I think sometimes when the vibrato isn't successful, it's because of your air. And sometimes when your phrasing is a little unclear, it's also because of your air. So the air is going to help us a lot. Okay. Do you have your pencil or a pencil? You got it? Okay.
Right over here.
Hi, Julian. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. 1 second.
All right. So you have your pencil. Good. Now I want you to, we're going to draw in some phrase markings because this one, we only have 1 crescendo, right? In the second line. So
Welcome, Julian. If you can turn off your camera till it's your turn, thank you.
so when you start, obviously we're going somewhere, right? So I want you to draw in a crescendo to where you think we're going, to the point where you think we're going. And where is that point? Where do you think we're crescendoing? Where is the phrase going at the beginning?
At the beginning, I'd say it's going to measure 3. Beginning of measure.
Good. Yes, exactly. Well, let me make sure. I just know that I didn't want you to say that it was going to the rest. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I would say that that's a decent goal. But right now, the energy and the phrase is stopping at each rest. So how can we think about going past the rest?
Making the rest a bit shorter, not taking breaths in between.
Both of those are good suggestions. You know, do you need that breath? I think the rest has to stay the same length, you know, but do you need to take a breath there? And I'm honestly asking you.
I could probably go without.
Yeah, let's see if you can go without. And then the big thing is, if we're crescendoing, it's called crescendoing through the rest. And how do you do that if you're resting?
You play loud until the rest, and then you keep playing at the same.
Yeah, so like the B after the 8th rest would have to be a little louder than what you left that E off of, right? And right now it's in a beautiful way starting from like a nowhere, you know, da 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 dee da dee, da 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 da. But now we have everything. It's a super important statement, and it's really, we want to show that it's connected. So just try not to taper off of the E too much, and then pick up from where you left off on the B, and then keep that going the next rest. So you're going to draw a little crescendo under through the rest, if that makes sense. Yeah, from the beginning to where you said somewhere in measure 3 is where you're going. So I want you to keep that crescendo going until that point. And let's try that again. And then I'll stop you shortly after that. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot one important detail. I want you to take the vibrato out now so you can really concentrate on your air.
All right.
And is that where is the spot that you were aiming? Is that aiming B?
Sorry, you're cutting out a bit.
Is that the spot that you were aiming for? That low B?
Well, I was trying to crescendo through the B.
Through the low B?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, let's try that, because I think that even on that very first G that you play, it's a quarter note tied to a 16th note, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you could crescendo through that. And if you're thinking, I don't know, in 16th notes, how many 16th notes are in that G?
Oh, you're at 4, right?
Isn't it tied?
In measure 1?
Mm-hmm.
5.
5. So if we were crescendoing, I don't know, at the rate of a 16th note, there's 5 opportunities to get louder. Does that make sense? You could crescendo at that rate. And if you did that, you would hear a nice big crescendo all the way through that low B. So you just want to make sure that the end of that G is louder than the beginning of that G. The beginning of that G is louder than your pickup B. And the same for everything when you're crescendoing. And conversely, when you're decrescendoing. Let's try that again and really make sure we hear that growth. Very good. Yeah. And when you did that, the B pickup wasn't so heavy, which I know one of your judges' comments talked about that pickup being super heavy, right? This is how we avoid that. Now, after that G, which was beautiful, the F sharp, the E, the D sharp, all have to get louder. And then the E has to get louder while you're holding on to that E. And then that B has to be louder than before, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try that. Oh, again, I'm sorry, Caleb, but no vibrato. So you can really focus on your air. Right. Good. We're just going to keep going over those 2 sections. I think that even if you crescendoed more, that low B will come out more successfully. I think you could still do a more true crescendo where each note gets louder than the previous. The first measure and a half is sounding really great now, but really keep that air going so you have a smooth connection over all of those register changes. Try it again. No vibrato, lots of air direction. Very good. Very good. Now, to revisit what you suggested earlier about breathing, as long as you play it like that, meaning playing the rest as a rest, but not as the end of the phrase, as long as you crescendo through the rest, you could take a breath there because there is a rest. You just have to make sure that when you come back in, you're louder than where you left off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And by taking a breath there, you might get that low B out more successfully as well. Now let's try everything you just did, no vibrato, but take a breath, but just make sure to continue the crescendo through the breath. Good. But I'm not convinced that those 16th notes got louder on each one.
Okay.
In comparison to where you left the G. What's that?
You want me to emphasize it more?
Well, I just want those. So if you're looking at the G, right?
Yeah.
The F sharp gets louder than the G. The E is louder than the F sharp. The D sharp is louder than the E. And the E is louder than the D sharp. I really want to hear that direction.
Right.
Let's try that again.
Try that again.
Yeah, that first part was pretty good though. Yeah, that is actually a much nicer arc than what you were playing before. You know, we can really hear the direction of the line. Do you like French fries?
Yeah.
What do you like any dipping sauce with it?
Ketchup.
Okay, ketchup, right? I actually like barbecue sauce. I don't like ketchup unless it's on a hot dog or a hamburger. But I want your vibrato to like enhance your phrases. Like now that you're making a nice phrase with your air direction, I want your vibrato to enhance it like ketchup enhances your potatoes, your French fries. You know what I mean? So maybe, and I don't know if this is true, but it's like, picture you have a plate of French fries and then you have a big jar of ketchup. When you eat it, you don't like take fries and then drink the ketchup, right? You like dip it. Yeah, it goes hand in hand. And I want you to start thinking of like your phrases going hand in hand with your vibrato and your air. They all work together to make those shapes. So I think a good way for you to start practicing this piece in preparation for the semifinal round is to strip out the vibrato in this first movement and get really comfortable and really ask yourself, am I crescendoing? Is this what I want to do? Am I decrescendoing enough? And when you feel really comfortable with how you're using your air, then on top of it, together with your teacher, we can do that. We'll start adding in vibrato in a way that makes sense with the line.
Okay.
And then when you do that, you're going to see that your vibrato will cut the sound out much less. Like sometimes it was cutting the sound out. Your vibrato was like clamping too much and there wasn't enough air to support it, so we couldn't hear it. By redoing the way we work on that, you'll see that it'll all be easier. It'll kind of just work together. Does that make sense? Is that confusing at all? Okay,
No, not really.
cool. Jim, how are we doing on time?
Oh, we have some time. We started late,
Perfect.
so maybe about
Perfect.
6 minutes.
Okay, oh, that's great. Okay,
Yeah,
so now let's look
Emily's
at the next.
not here yet, so I'm gonna
Okay.
message her too.
Okay, let's look at the next pickup that, we keep stopping after the low B. We're going to start on the middle B and we're going to go until the trill. Again, take the vibrato out. And I want you to take the trill out and really make sure you're counting that quarter note plus the dotted eighth note and the 16th correctly when you get there. Okay?
Okay. Starting at the beginning.
No, just starting after the low B at the next phrase. Okay. Good. Let's talk about that. I know we said we would go further. Yeah, play that last measure again. Really count carefully. Yeah. And now again, and this time trill, but make sure you're adding the trill where it says to and you're not taking time away from the B to trill.
Just that measure or starting at
Just that measure. How did that feel?
Okay.
Okay, I think the trill is a dotted eighth, and I think you maybe didn't trill for long enough, so that you wound up finishing early.
Okay.
Da dee dum bum. So da 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 dum bum bum. Try that again. Yeah, you can actually trill a little longer. That dotted eighth is quite a long time. Play it once without the trill again, so you can really feel the beat and a half. And now play it again, and internally, I want you to hear the trill, but you're not playing the trill. Good. And now you're going to do that same thing again. You're going to internally hear the trill, and you're going to imagine your fingers trilling, but you're not playing it. Good. Now play the trill like you imagined it. Better. That's much better. Still need to try it once more. Yeah, that's a little better. I would just make sure you're counting through that. Notice getting to that spot, getting to that trill, we had a couple of C sharps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to crescendo through those, right? Yeah. And then we go from C sharp to D sharp. And then we go back to a C sharp eventually, right? I think that if you use closed C sharp, that's going to be a little easier to blow against in that spot and to crescendo. Do you know the closed C sharp fingering?
Yeah, it's just low C sharp with an octave key, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's try that fingering there. And I think that might disrupt that crescendo a little less from G, bridging G to D sharp with that fingering instead of the open fingering in this instance.
Okay, you want me to start with the chord note before the fifth measure?
Just the same spot we started last time, that middle B. Good. Yeah, that's much better. And I think that crescendo works a little better too when you use that fingering.
Yeah.
One last thing I would say about that trill that might help prevent you from moving to the B too quickly is that you start on the A sharp, right? And then you're trilling. And then resolve the trill on the A sharp before you go to the B. And you could also, typically what you want to do is you'd want to start the trill on the B, but I think that's where you're getting confused and you're starting the trill too early. So for now, I'm not going to have you start on the B, but I think trill as you are, start on the A sharp, but then end the trill on the A sharp before you resolve to the B. Can you try that measure again? Da, ya, 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 bum, bum. Almost, yeah. So you're gonna end on the A sharp. Da, do, yo, 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 bum, bum. Okay, good. That's something to continue to work on. We'll get that. Good.
We're at time.
Okay.
Caleb, it's good to hear you. Good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice job, Caleb.
Sure thing.
And for that recital, you should plan on playing this first movement. I think that would be great.
That would be wonderful.
What time's the recital?
It's at 3:30 at Eastern time. So you're in California. It's 12:30.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, just log on and very informal. You don't have to dress up.
Okay.
And we'll just have a good time.
All right.
Yeah. Sure thing. Emily.
Hi, Caleb.
Oh, hi.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
And you already know Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. Everyone knows everyone. Wonderful. Well, welcome to Progressive Musicians, and
Thank you.
I will let you two take it away.
So, Emily, were you wanting to play the Telemon or the Caravan today for the masterclass? What were you planning on playing?
The Telemon. I think I need more work on that piece.
Okay, yeah. Let's do
number
that.
3.
Yeah. All right. So let's hear it, and we might not get through it all. I might stop you.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, a lot of good work on that. Very nice. So I want to talk about a few things. Are you looking at the Urtext version or what that the edited Schirmer?
The Urtext version.
Okay, good. So I like a lot of the decisions you made, but at the same time, you know, with these Urtext without any guides with the slurring or the articulations or some of the dynamic things, you know, it can be a little daunting. So if we look at, let's talk about the vivace first. I like that you're slurring the neighbor tones. Da-da-dum, you're doing that, right? Da-da-dum, dum-dum. Okay. Keep that. You know, we have this little fugue here. Da-da-dum, bum-bum. And we really want to hear that theme always played the same when we have the neighbor tone. Da-da-da, bum-bing, bum-bum-bing, bum, ba-da-da-da-dee, da-da-dee, dum, da-da-da-da-dee, da-da-da. Now, one thing I would say, you notice the amount of 16th rests in this vivace, yeah?
Yeah.
That is a clue for us. I think that those make good phrase points. I think that a lot of the time I hear you going to the 16th rest, but it doesn't always match what's happening harmonically. A lot of those statements end in a question, and I'd like you to try diminuendoing into the 16th note rest. Da 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 bum bum beep bum beep bum ba da da beep bum bum bum. Da 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 dee da da dee da. You know, that is always kind of like the answer or the statement, and then it will usually leave off in some sort of a question, like it does before the largo with the foreshadowing of the new theme of those little chords, but also ending with the quarter rest. Beam bum bum. Dee-da-dum, you know, it kind of sets it up a little bit. Going on to page 7, again, with those 16th note rests, I would phrase coming away a little bit more at measure 26. Does that make sense? Also at measure 25. Are there any other ones? Measure on the previous page, measure 9. Do dee dum bum. Bum bum beep bum. You know, anytime you have that 16th note rest, you're followed with a statement or an answer. Bum bum bum. Da da dee dum beep bum beep bum beep bum beep bum 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 bum. Bum bum beep bum beep bum beep, bump. And that is going to give you a more conversational way to play this, a little bit more playful and a lot more different shades and colors starting there. We're going to address a lot of color ideas of color and shade in this in particular. But first I want to make sure you're setting those ideas up. So can we start the vivace and go on for a little bit? We probably won't go past the next largo. Let's try that. Yeah. Good. So I think even more, I think that it can start off a little softer. And I think in general, we can play with our softer dynamics more. If you think about one of those transverse Baroque flutes, you know, the lower notes were very dark and subdued, and the higher notes were much brighter and almost sharper, but not sharper pitch-wise, but like sharper color-wise. You know, there was more of a point to them. And I think that in these pieces, Telemann really plays with the light and dark with the registers. And the saxophone isn't too different. You know, D, everything's covered. High B, only the first tone hole is covered. So in a lot of ways, we can let those natural tendencies come out, but I think we can focus on darkening up your lower notes and the softer tones. Just you want to have somewhere to go when you start that vivace. So maybe start a little bit softer. Let's try that again. Good. Good. And this echo effect, is there any way that could be more dramatic between 10 and 11, you know, where you have that echo? And did you know that there's another place that you have an echo shortly after that? It's measure 4. That's okay. Measure 14 is the echo of the 2 beats before.
Oh, yeah.
And when you do that, that gives the variety that we need. You know, with solo playing, sometimes it can get a little monotonous, but you know, with the variety and the conversation, that provides the ear a little bit of a break in tone color and sound and character and attitude. And Telemann was so great at this. You know, I mean, you hear so many different parts and so many different voices that we want to take advantage anytime he gives us something like that. So getting into bar 13, pickups to the third beat, da dee dum bum beep bop beep bum beep bum beep beep bum bop 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 bop. You know, that gives us a whole bunch of variety. So we want to make sure to do that. Same thing in bar 10 and 11. We really want to make a bigger difference. So what you could do is after you ask the question on the downbeat of 10, bum 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 beep bop beep bum, you can kind of crescendo through that idea, which will set you up to make the echoes appear softer because you would have crescendoed the first part. Yeah, does that make sense? Good.
Yeah. So
The other.
Sorry, do you want
Go
me to
ahead.
crescendo after the 16th rest, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
there's something there that we do need to discuss. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the gravity and the weight of sound. So when you have these questions that go into the 16th rest, I would, just like it looks at the downbeat of measure 10, bum, 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 bum. I would come away, decrescendo through all four, bum, 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 bum. And then when you come back in, you should start from a similar place. Bum, 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 bum. You know, you're going to have that feeling of up and down. Bum, 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 beep, bum, beep, bum. And then that will also give a sense of playfulness. That's where we get that lively character. And it just will make the counterpoint come out more. And again, we'll have more conversation that way. So basically, that's a good rule of thumb every time. If you just picture something swinging, you know, what goes up, then it has to come back down. You know, it's not like stop motion animation where here, and then the next thing you see, you're over here, right? Very organic. Let's try hitting all three of those ideas, starting again at the vivace. Echoes, gravity, tone color, conversation. No, good. There too. Oh, that was the same spot. D, da, da, da. You know, we really want to hear that come away. One thing you can do on the saxophone is that you can picture that first one, tenuto, and that tenuto just keeps getting smaller and smaller until you reach the staccato. T, ta, 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 T, ta, ta, ta. That'll also give the illusion of getting softer. Let's do measure 7. I know it's a weird spot, but just start right on 7. There too. That downbeat of 8 should be treated similarly. So right now you're making the last of the 16ths always a little bit longer. You're kind of lengthening into the rest, but I think it's a little backwards. I think that if you back into the rest, meaning that last one before the rest will be the shortest, it'll have that tiptoeing away effect.
Can I just try like right there?
Yes. Let go of your air. You should start thinking about letting go of your air on the A. Yes. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that again. Yeah, don't feel like you have to force that F sharp because it will pop out. Yeah. Do, do, do. Let go of the air on the A. Better. You know, you're gonna have to help it a little bit with your embouchure. And I think that if you keep your corners in and you think a little bit do, it'll be a little bit easier to control that. That was nice. Yeah, do that again. Good. Let's do from 6. So every time, and if you need to, take a moment and circle those groups of 16ths that go away into the rest. There's a few of them in this little section. That's why we were working on it.
We have about 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you. And let's start at 6, and we're going to go basically from 6 to like through 14. So 6 to 15. Okay. Try to catch all that and the echoes. Good. Good. Have we done the spot where we take apart this counterpoint here and hear the melodies?
Not this section.
Okay, so I would treat this like the other telemons at 10. Again, talking about the new phrase, beep bump, ba da da. I would only play the ones, the lower stack ones. Da 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 do 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 a few times. Let's do that really quick. I know we only have a few more minutes.
Starting from 10?
Starting from the F sharp after the 16th note in 10, yeah. Da da. Do you see the 16th rest in 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, so starting in the tone after that. F sharp, D, G, G, E, F sharp,
Okay.
F, D, G. Good, good. But make sure you don't play that A because that's the top voice. Bum, bum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, good, good. Now play the upper voice ones.
Wait, do you want me to play them or just?
Just play the upper voice ones. Just play the
Okay.
upper. Start on A, B, A, G, B, G. Yeah. Good. Do that again. That much. Right. So what's happening, why you have the finger fumbles in this spot, is because you're just not hearing both melodies that you're going for. So it's a little confusing. But once you start hearing those two melodies, it'll be a little bit easier. The upper one is obviously easier to hear. The lower one is a little bumpy. Play the lower one more time, and then we're going to put it together. Good. Now try to put them together. Good. You hear them, right? And then it's like, how
Yeah.
could I never hear this before? So you just have to do that every time. Anytime there's a finger bumble in these, they're not technically challenging. It's because you're just not hearing what's coming, because you're so looking at a pointillistic painting this close. You're like, what am I looking at? Just back it up, split it. Usually you can take a line and draw it through the two melodies and then just work on each melody until you really hear. Good. And I think we'll just, continue working on this because I think there's a lot that we can work on, but it's come a long way. So good job.
Bravo. Great to hear you. All right. So I did not realize that Julian and David were together here. I'm looking
Oh,
I didn't see David's name and I'm messaging like crazy. They're like, we're together. So that's great news. And we have David next, or Julian, whoever wants to be next is fine.
Sure. And then Emily, while you're still here, are you planning to play the improvisation at the recital?
I actually have a schedule conflict. It's at 12:30, right? I got the time zones mixed up and I scheduled
Oh.
something at
That's
the
okay.
You know
same
what?
time.
If you want, I mean, it's not going to be terribly long, but we don't have to put you first either. So, I'll give you the option if you're available, and you want to come in and see if it's still going. I mean, we can just get you on. It's that
Okay.
informal. But if not, no worries.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, David.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Welcome.
I'm good today, thank you.
Hi, David.
Hi, Michael.
Yeah, you guys all know each other, and this is wonderful.
Yeah. Best friends.
That's great. So I don't need to give an introduction, but I'm looking forward to hearing you play two forms of insomnia or some telemon.
What are you planning on playing, David?
I could do either. Or I'm not sure.
You can choose. Let's go ahead and do Telemon then, since we're already here.
Okay.
The mic's a little. Go ahead and play some tester notes. It's all. It's kind of clipping in and out.
Do you have your original sound on? That's better.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
Is the gain okay?
Yeah, it's just the original sound wasn't on.
Okay.
Good. Let's stop there. I think in this opening line, how are you thinking of the uppers versus the lower notes, articulation wise or length wise? You're doing something. I'm just not able to tell what it is you're thinking.
I'm trying to make the upper ones a little bit longer.
Okay.
Isn't
All right. Yeah, try that again. Then that means you're making the C, the tonic, shorter, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what that, yeah. Go for that, and let's see what that sounds like. We might flip it. Okay, and now flip it once. Go ahead and go slower, go slower. Go a little bit slower just to practice it, and let's try making the top one short just to flip it, and the C a little more legato. Now let's go even slower. Can you use a softer like da tongue on the C's? Because right now you're using the same front on each one. But I think that maybe you could use a softer do or da on the C's. And maybe just imagine the upper ones being a little peckier. So even slower to practice it, David. Da 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 da. Yeah. They're better. There's the difference there, but they're actually still quite similar to one another. And I know that you want to bring. I know you're wanting to bring the upper ones out more, right? That's why you're trying to lengthen them, right, to make them come out more. But what's happening is, you're not able to. It's kind of like you're not able to move the pinky from the ring finger. You move both at the same time. So like while you're trying to make the upper ones longer, you're also making the bottom ones longer. So it just all sounds da 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 da, and it ends up sounding too much of a full line. I'm not hearing the separation enough. So that's why I think maybe the opposite might be easier. Just take that upper line. I don't know if you were there for Emily, and just do short staccato. Just the upper line, dry, staccato, short. And then that last one, if you want to make long. Now, can you crescendo through that? Good. I would say even more crescendo. Yeah. And now are you able to make that switch fast enough so that you're soft tonguing D D da 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 D da? Yeah, does that make sense? But so start slow. Da dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da. But without making the C's louder, just longer. Just articulations. Good. See, I think part of the thing is, you know, like we've talked about, Telemon knew the flute really well, right? So when the flute is playing high up there, in order to get them to come out right, have you ever played flute before?
No.
Okay. So it's like blowing across the, right? Have you ever blown across a bottle?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to do overtones across a bottle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you've gotten like the higher partials out?
I think once or twice before, yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So you know how hard you have to blow for the higher partials to come out? It's not that much different than playing high on flute. So to get those higher notes, the air has to be much faster, which in turn, the natural tendency of the flute is to have them kind of pop out. They're going to be a little brighter, maybe even a little louder and not as subdued as the C. And I think that obviously Telemon knew that and was playing with those colors inherent to the flute. And I think as saxophonists, that's a little true, especially on soprano, but we're so used to making it so homogeneous and working really hard not to make the high notes pop out and to round out those middle tones. I think that that's getting in your way a little bit here. So they let those high notes pop out, and the harsher, for a lack of better term, that you use the tongue and more staccato, I think they'll come out a little bit more ringy and they'll sound a little bit louder. Right now, it's like you're masking after G. You're trying to contain the B's, the A's, and the C's. So we're not hearing that line complete. What we are hearing is that plow of the low C. So if there's a way you can really, as you're short blowing those staccato notes, if you can put more air. I think it'll be a little easier. It's a little difficult to do fast right now. So again, slow motion. Go ahead and really push a lot of air on those staccato short tones. And as the zipper starts to peel away, realize that you don't have to try so hard to make this C loud. It's going to be there. So if anything, if you could think of as you go diminuendoing on the C as you grow on the higher line. One more time. May think of the C as diminuendoing as the other one crescendos. That's a lot better. What we should feel like we're left with is just the upper tone and the idea of the C. Faster, it's all going to come together. Try it a little faster. Try it at tempo, just with those ideas. But it's coming out clear for sure. I think it's a much better way to play that. Do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can really take advantage of making the last two C's a little bit longer. You know, I mean, now that as the lower line starts changing and adding more of that chord, you can do something different. But now we're focusing on the higher line. I'm able to hear the higher line again. So let's say the last measure and a half, da 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 da. You know, you're really setting up that C is getting longer now up high. Does that make sense or not?
Yes.
Okay, try that now. Yeah, and then how about a little ornament on that C? Yeah, yeah, da da, or something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Once more, and then we'll keep going. I think that's already a lot better. Do you have questions about that, Spot?
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
It's-
Okay. Yeah. Good. Then what I wanted to talk about with the Largos, no matter what room you're in, or basement in this case, you know, if you're used to a certain space as a musician and at your age, you should be able to adapt and kind of play the room a little bit more. So I don't know. I would guess by the way you're playing these Largos that this basement is very dry with no reverb. That statement fair? Okay. I shouldn't know that though, because just because you're not in a grand hall or in a big classroom doesn't mean you still can't play with the room. It just means that you're going to have to add more artificial resonance, right?
Yeah.
So right now these ideas are a little on their own, like little islands of sound. Ba-dee-dum, be-dum, ba-dee-dum, be-dum. So you're gonna have to play with the room so that you're able to get your ideas across with a little bit more connection as you would if you were in a big hall with an echo. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to taper more. I would go more round with your embouchure. Do, bo, bo, do. Try that. Yeah. And then, you know, you don't have to, I want you to phrase it like you want to phrase it, like you're intending to, and just use that adjustment wherever you do want silence. Just be aware that you're not confined to, oh, I'm in this room, so I can't change the way I play it. It's going to sound different. It should always sound the same no matter where you play it. What you have to do is going to be what changes.
We're at about
So-
4 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So now that you did that, can you make it sound how you want to sound, but be aware that you're going to have to play it differently? Because I don't know if what you did right now was just imitating what I sang or how you wanted to play it. Does that make sense? I want you to do what you wanted to do there, but just be aware of the changes you have to make for that to happen, for it to come across. Try it again. Good, much better. Let's go on, and same ideas, right? Between the counterpoint and then on the next dolce. The next dolce is where it was really noticeable, when you have the dotted figure and the eighth. Do, da, 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 da. It was a little too dry. Start at the second presto. Good, fine. That's fine. Jim, how are we on time now?
We got about a minute.
Okay, perfect. So the last thing I wanted to say, David, it goes with that transverse flute idea. The after the trill, you know, where you start on the low E da 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 dum bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
I would like to hear a greater color difference between the lower E, F sharp, G, D, G, G, E line. Boom. Like if you could picture like a dome, you know, a little bit of a ballooning effect. Dome. Bum 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 bum. Dome. Da 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 ding. Dome. So that becomes its own line, so that it doesn't go da 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 dee do da da, or the opposite da 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 dee do da da. It just needs to have a little bit of resonance, like a little half moon. Dum ba dee da dum dum. Does that make sense? Can you try that really quick? Just 3 measures of it. Yeah, the first one was great, but then that C at the end of that half note C became part of the next F sharp, and they're separate ideas. I want you to treat them as separate ideas. Try it once more quickly. Good. That's better. That's coming across more, even though you might intellectually be aware that that's its own line. It wasn't coming across in the music. One way to practice something like that is to, in your practice room, dome da 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 dee, deem da 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 dum, beam. You know, because you really have to separate those ideas. And sometimes we're such linear people. We're always thinking about the line that you end up connecting it even when you don't intend to. Okay. Thank you, David.
Bravo, David. Ugh, I fed that same statement to my students last week. It's like we always want to.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a good habit to have, but it gets in our way sometimes.
Every instrument. Yeah. Wonderful. And Julian is in the same room. So we got all the tech set up, which is great.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, but now he's gone. Oh, he'll come back.
They left.
Oh, that was you that left. Okay.
Yeah, I'll need to get the music up for this one.
Yeah, you're all good. I was like, someone left. Everyone's sounding great.
Yeah, I got on this Telemon kick this semester with all my privates and college kids. They're just so great for working on counterpoint and tone color, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of Baroque, mostly Bach with the piano at the beginning, because it's just, you know, it's just good for so many reasons.
Yeah.
How you doing there, Julian? Welcome. We're thrilled to have you here. And you also know Mike, so we don't need to give big introduction, but oh, I see you're using a Bluetooth pedal.
Yes. Oh, I'm unmuted now. Okay, cool.
You are unmuted.
We can hear you. So you're playing all of the prelude, is that correct?
Yeah, the first prelude from Bach's third partita.
Cool.
Wonderful.
You want to play a few notes to test? Good. Okay, sounds good. Okay, nice. Very nice. How long have you been working on this?
Just like the past 2 weeks.
Okay. And is this must be one of the things you're taking to the semifinal round?
I do want to take it, yeah.
Okay. In addition to what else are you taking?
Piazzolla 6 and CPE Bach 3.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so it's interesting. A lot of good things. I want to know. So, for those of you that will be tuning in later on YouTube to watch this masterclass, this comes from the Bach for Saxophone, compiled and arranged, transcribed by Ronald Caravan. Are you doing the false fingerings in this one that he suggests on the first page?
Yeah. Does he say that? Oh, I don't think so. I'm just adding low C on those Fs.
Okay, so it's not you're not changing whenever every time he has a plus sign, you're not doing the other fingering there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing the fingering. Let me read it real quick.
Okay, well if you that's okay. You're probably not if you didn't read that. And that's just to give a different color to the note, which again is fine. I don't do that when I play it because it goes by so fast. But what I do want to talk about is what we've talked about with almost everyone today with this Baroque solo stuff is the idea of varying the color depending on the counterpoint. And I know you were in the room for David's class, but it's actually different for violin. I think we kind of want to have that in those telemons, in that instance, in that telemon 5, for example, where he was playing the upper notes really short and pecky and the lower ones the opposite. I think that you're doing that a lot here. And in this one, a lot of those upper palm key notes have the slurs and the tenutos. And even if they don't, I think when you're thinking of violin playing up there, as opposed to the more shreddy ideas, I think you could, don't be afraid to follow through with your air more and make those slurs dia dia more open-ended and not so dia dia. Right now it's coming across very woodwindy, and that's not a bad thing, but really trying to go for that longer bowing I think could be a good idea because you have plenty of opportunities to play short when you have those repeated notes. And right now, even when we flip that on its head and the important notes, I'm just happy to be looking at this last line of the first page with that. When we have the lower notes that are important, I think those can be longer too. So slow motion would be da 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 da. Yeah. So right now, yeah, I just think that there needs to be more variety in the articulation because all four are coming across the same, and they're actually should be played very unequal, right? 3 against 1 in that specific spot. If you look at the second half of the second line and first half of the third line, do we do 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 we da 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 dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da dee da da dee da 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 da. I would lengthen those upper lines so we hear that as the higher melody. Right now, And on soprano, they're going to be short, like we talked about with David, which luckily for that one, we were able to go with the instrument. Now we're kind of having to go against it and add some artificial resonance on those on those higher tones, lengthening them so that we have the sound sustaining through the lower counterpoint. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
And it starts off at the very beginning. It's easy to want to hear it as but really what we want is da-da-dum, bum bum be yaddy-daddy-dum, bum bum be yaddy-daddy-daddy. It's about the slurred lines is what we want. Yada-dum, ba-ba-be yaddy-daddy-dum, bum bum be yada-da-da-da-dee yaddy-daddy-dum. And it's coming across a little too dry. Yada-da-da-da-dee yaddy-daddy-da-dee-da-da. Which again is easy to do on saxophone, but we're trying to evoke that violin playing. Yeah. So let's try. Did that give you enough comments to tackle, like, let's say the first page, what we're trying to flip and try differently?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try the first page again. Think about he, tia he, tia he.
How did that one sound?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, sure. And then now just don't overthink it. Yada da da. I just don't want you to clip it so much. Yada da 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 da. Yada da 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 da. Good, 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 good. And here, I appreciate the Caravan has a lot of articulations here, but in this forte section, you know, when you hear a violinist do it, it's very, I don't know if full bow is the correct term, but when I play this, trying to emulate the sound that a violin gets on this forte line, I go ahead and lengthen those. Is the line that I'm trying to bring out. I wouldn't get so caught up in making those all staccato there after that forte. And if you lengthen them, it'll be easier to crescendo up to that, the line, which is in the palm keys, yeah? Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, try that. Start right there at the forte. Yeah, and I would just add a slur 3, tongue 1, and beat 3. You're just trying to enhance the line that's there already.
Sorry, the reed's a little thin, but
Yeah, why don't you just wet the back end? I think that's what is the problem, and then lower that ligature a little bit and loosen that ligature up a bit.
We're at about 5 minutes.
Okay. But you understand what I'm trying to get you to do on those higher notes, right?
yeah, just ring
Okay, try it one more time, and if the reed isn't cooperating, we're going to move on to another section. Uh-oh, I just... Can we go to page 33 and start in line 3? Good. Here, I would like to hear the rest of that line. Da 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 dum, ba da 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 dum, ba da da. As if those resolution tones, the A and the G, are still sounding. Da 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 dum, ba 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 da 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 dum. But right now it's very it's very etude. You can lengthen that, land on that, and give the impression that it's being sustained. Good. So go to the third, right? The third tone. So A, G, G, G. D, 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 da, 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 dum, ba, 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 ba. Don't get too caught up in the ornament, in the passing tones or the articulations. Da, 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 da. D, D, da, 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 dum, ba, 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 ba. And while you're at it, where you're starting, bring out that upper line. Do da 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 da. Yeah. Do da 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 da. Try that again. Yeah. I can still see a little getting used to it. One more time. That was better though. You're starting. Yeah, good. You know, because in this, there actually is a lot of line, I think, but you're really looking at each of the four. All of a sudden, now I was able to hear the line starting earlier with the D, F, A, A, yeah? One more time, really pulling apart that counterpoint there. Good. Another spot where you have a line drawn in right before the forte.
This is same page.
Yeah, this looks like your copy they sent me. You have like a black line drawn in and there's a forte. Do you see that? A couple lines down?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That upper line, da, da, the F, I think could give the impression of that F sustaining like a pedal tone more. Very choppy now. I'm not hearing the relationship from beat to beat. It needs to transcend the bar lines. Try that. Yeah, so we just have a pedal on F. Let's try that again. Good. That's the idea. Same idea, the next page 34, the top two lines, we really want to hear that descending low tone. I would, da-da, you have a slurred two, tongue two, I would slur two, tongue one short, tongue the fourth one legato. Dee-da-da-da, 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 dee-da-da-da. So we hear that descending line. Open release on those last of the four. Try that section. Nothing should sound too harsh or short here in this section. Yeah, and the saxophone down there is great at sustaining. So let the saxophone do the work for you. Ba, 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 ba. Just play and just know that you don't have to do anything on those low notes. They're going to ring for you. Again. Good. Fine, good. And then four lines down, the mezzo forte, mezzo piano line, try not to choke those upper notes, C's, D's, let those be a longer line. All of those slurred notes need to be a little more legato and held through. But I don't think we have time to play through that. But those were basically all of my comments, just really bringing out the different colors there. Yeah.
Good work, Julian.
Yeah, nice work.
Yeah. Will you want to play on this afternoon's recital?
Yeah.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Okay, and David, you too?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I'll put you guys in, and very informal. You don't have to dress up. You just come in, announce your piece, play. We'll have a great time. And looks like we're going to have close to, probably somewhere around 10 people. So
Cool. And what time
It'll be fun.
that starts in about half an hour
it's in 45 minutes.
or okay, same link.
Different link here.
Okay.
You know, let's see if I can get that really quick here for you. So I just moved the website around a little bit as we were going. Here is the link. Okay, I'm putting it in the chat here, and I'll send it out.
All right, perfect.
Oh, whoop! I just sent it to Julian. there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's that, and it's just be on Zoom. You know, we'll just have a good time, and just another opportunity to play for each other.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Wonderful. But it was great to hear you, and congratulations on the semifinals.
Yeah, you guys sounded great.
Thank you.
Wonderful.